Yeah. Something tells me those influencers didn't vote or don't understand, or they're also the ones screaming about how he's going to cancel elections. Just anyone telling you protests don't matter is not on the side of trying to help defeat the tyrant. They might hate the tyrant, but they're not trying to do anything about it. And just like all of us that are trying to do something about it are so tired. Like Amanda Smile Takes tweet today, and she was like, I remember y'all were so mad at me for saying martial law wasn't going to happen on April 20th. And then again on July 4th, that you doxed me, that you attacked a house that has children living in it because you were so mad at me saying that. Which is the same thing I experienced, except I didn't get doxed. People are too afraid to dox a military household. The war in Iran just wildly blowing up in Trump's face. ... Pun absolutely intended. Yay, Middle America. Hey, Candace. Yeah, I do lives. Usually every morning I'm live on TikTok and YouTube, and then I eat my lunch with Instagram and Facebook. I also sometimes play guitar in the afternoons with Instagram and Facebook because they're much nicer to me than YouTube and TikTok. We've got knitting needle swords in the shop, by the way. Actually, I'm not sure if they're on TikTok. I don't know. I have the pictures blurry on YouTube. Yes, I like this comment. When 7 million people protest in the streets, like showing the tyrant a gun without firing it yet. Very powerful. I think it was 10 million last time, which is still not enough. Still not the right percentage. It also shows to everyone else that when 10 million Americans, especially mostly white Americans, roll out of their house at the same time, there's literally nothing the government can do about it. No, I have not made a sign. I don't usually make signs for protests because I'm knitting. I am the protest sign. Everything about my appearance is fuck Donald Trump. So I don't need a sign. I think we're going to be in the Tacoma Park. The Tacoma Park No Kings rally. If anybody is around there. God. About elevator culture, ... Yes, it's different in different places. ... Including in the United States Army. I mean, me and my family think very differently about precautions for protests. My husband is like, gotta lock your phone, gotta leave it behind. And I'm like, I'm gonna be there live streaming. I think it's safe for non-white people to go out in the giant crowd of white people and protest, yes. But also, I don't think you need to feel like you have to. I think this is white people's job right now. The magic number is 3.5%. Somebody can do that math, but I think it's more than 10 million out of 350 million. I think we will get him out by voting. I think that might be the midterms, and then he'll get impeached, or it might be in 2028, or by dying. I might make some Have a Day merch that is specific to the big, beautiful burial. I'm really thinking about it. I mean, do I set up a plan for the worst case scenario? Like, my worst case scenario is, and it's immediately not my problem, or I get arrested and then I get to come back and be a loud, wealthy, white, attractive, veteran citizen who gets to throw a giant fit and probably sue the fuck out of the government. It's sort of my plan. I did tell my husband that if I get arrested, he has to come on here and tell you all where to send the yarn to. And like, y'all know I'm going to be in prison, like leading the knitting club, teaching people about resistance. I mean, I just heard Amanda Mild Take say the only people who talk shit are people who aren't doing anything effective in their lives. Yeah. Still in touch with the high school counselor who changed my life, ... Sent her some of your comments after reading the chapter with her in it. Not always do educators get to find out how much they changed someone's life. I think they have crafting in women's prisons. I don't think you're allowed to like have it in your cell, but I know how to finger knit. It's okay. Yes, she's proud of me. I mean, people talking about a false flag, like, to me means as much about people saying they got steak and lobster that means deployment. Like, I don't see why a false flag attack on America would be any more successful than anything else Donald Trump has tried. It actually takes just as much operations planning and luck and success to pull off a bad guy attack as to pull off any other kind of operation or event. And they suck at this. And nobody would believe them. And it is a human nature thing for us to say, oh, we got a successful hit-in. That means they're coming for us. But nobody's capabilities have changed. We have to tell soldiers this in actual war all the time. Like, nope, just because you killed some people yesterday, that doesn't mean they're automatically going to be able to shoot down your helicopter any more than they were yesterday. Oh, I think blow it all before he goes to jail is a good, like, it's coming, right? There's only so much longer this can last for, and I don't think it's years. He's also just like actively rotting to death, so. I like that on the coaster. Yeah. As I said since the beginning, any 89-year-old man, however old he is, 79-year-old man, has a good chance of not surviving for 4 years. No, comma, a few thousand Marines are not days away from invading Iran. That's not how any of this works, period. The invasion of Iraq was 180,000 troops in a highly coordinated maneuver that took months to plan and was not secret, period. And Iraq has a much less competitive military than Iran. No, there's worse behind him when he dies is usually just a silly thing people say that are not paying attention or not wanting to listen. I don't think anyone can make a valid case that Shady Vance is going to be worse than Donald Trump. And the people that aren't paying attention. You have to have a personality to take over a cult of personality. Literally everybody hates Shady Vance. He'll be the president. He will not have command of MAGA. And also, Donald Trump is the worst person, and he already put the worst people in place around him. And people saying, oh, the next people are just going to be worse are the same people telling you to not go protest. They're the people that don't want to have to fucking do anything. Oh, 6/6/26 would be such a good date for him to die. Yeah, Pete Hegseth is already on his way out. I think the writing's on the wall. No, with the power he has, he cannot destroy us all. Donald Trump does not have the capability to kill 350 million people. You need to stop with that, with the doomsday. My place is not the space for that. Logistics or leave. I don't know when it's time to invoke the 25th Amendment. I am not in Congress and they do not call me and ask for permission. But I don't understand what people don't understand about the Republicans are in power in every branch and they do not want to remove him from power because they want power. So they are going to support him in whatever he does. That's why they're terrified of midterms, because it's very likely that we're going to flip everything and then the Democrats can impeach and remove. Oh, my turtles, the country can wait for another 3 years. I've never seen a country spontaneously combust, even under the worst forms of dictators. And your American privilege is showing really hard right now. Nobody has ever guaranteed you a good country or an executive that wanted to work for the people. Welcome to the rest of the world. Time to get used to it. Spent 16 years growing up in a labor, sex, and torture camp. And y'all think that you can't survive a year with a nasty president. Sit down. Do so much better. Dems can do a lot of things when they're elected. People saying, like, what are the Democrats doing right now? Just don't understand the government. My best way to explain it is a game of chess, and the Democrats only have a king on the table. And you cannot win if you only have a king. There's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is try to dance the other side to a stalemate if they don't know how to win either, and then you all get a new chance to start again. Yeah, everybody being like, he's going to kill us all. Just shut up and sit down. Nobody in the history of the world has ever killed 350 million people before. I need you to stop. And I need you to stop because those kinds of statements help them win. The reason that tyrants want you to think the world is ending all of the time, and cult leaders, is because if you think there's nothing you can do, you're not going to fucking do anything. America cannot be ruled by force. I don't know how many times I have to tell you all this. No, there's no mass nuclear war doesn't take out a whole country. Cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki still exist. Yes, it's terrible. But this idea that Americans have that one person pushes a button and then the whole world is destroyed. Stop. Be adults. Okay, Faith, if you're worried, what are you doing about it? You are the adult. Nobody's coming to save you. Every single American adult is going to have to figure out how to push back. If your government sucks, you have to fire your government. Figure it out. What are you afraid of? The military is going to come shoot you? Good news. That's illegal. Shoot them back. Yes, I did say there's nothing the Democrats can do. I didn't say there is nothing the American people can do. Pay attention and don't try to use my words against me when you don't know what you're talking about. Cults always want to control your underwear. I just wish all of you were more embarrassed that you don't understand your government. Like, literally. Nope. Disabled adults are still adults, and disabled adults need to figure out how to push back. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's coming to save you. No military is coming to get involved. We are going to have to figure it out, or we are going to have a period of living in a dictatorship. Senor, that's enough. Yeah, but trying to learn means going out and studying. It doesn't mean asking people on the internet over and over again what's going to happen. Like I always say when people come at me and they're like, when are you going to get scared? I'm like, in 2015. And I've read 50 books about fascism and authoritarianism since then, written my own manual about how the bad guys are doing things, and built giant platforms so that I could help. What are you doing? If you are scared, what are you doing? I changed my entire life, so I have no sympathy for any excuses of, oh, I can't. If you're scared, what the fuck are you doing? If you're not doing anything, you're not that scared. If you're telling yourself you can't do anything, you're not that fucking scared. I don't know how the dog became a Republican, but I suspect he might have been radicalized by Andrew Tate. Oh, I'm also here trying to explain the military. Like when I explain to you about the military, I'm not trying to tell you to calm down. I'm trying to explain to you about the military because the left clearly has no fucking clue about how our military works. I don't think it's overreacting for anyone to move out of the country. I think that 350 million people cannot move. I think that the entire world is trending right-wing authoritarian, and 60% of the world is living under authoritarianism, and this is an everyone problem. And I'm here to help the people that are not moving. More about white vegetarianism and racism. And Dr. John Kellogg, ... That frickin' creep. Caveat, comma, apparently he was not the one who invented graham crackers, comma, but the rest is true. I watched half, or maybe less than half, of the Louis Theroux document. I hope I'm going to do the rest of that today while I sit around and do no work. Yeah, Faith, if you cannot understand my English, this might not be a place for you right now. I did not say don't worry. I've never said don't fucking worry. And it's weird to try to put that on me. If you're making parallels to Germany and you don't understand all the fucking differences, you don't need to be making parallels to Germany. And you shouldn't be listening to anyone who is talking about Germany who's not telling you the differences either. It's really weird how you all think that people who are here to give you the accurate daily threat, the political content creators, are telling you not to worry. Like, I'm sorry that your nervous systems are so unregulated that you just need to see me with my hair on fire. But I grew up in a sex and torture and labor camp, and nobody came to save me. And then I went to war where I had to do this same job while they were shooting rockets at me. Nobody's shooting at me right now. And if I was standing in line for a firing squad, I would be knitting and being like, either it's going to work out or it's immediately not going to be my problem. You usually can't donate books to libraries. This is actually a myth in America. Libraries do not want your donations. That's why you see thrift stores full of books. You can donate your books to thrift stores. Wait for it. Somebody's about to ask me why I'm so mad. Nobody wants to work hard anymore! Exclamation point. Cults are all about labor. ... So is the United States. Hey yo, Culting of America through the library. Love it. Posting online is something, depending on who you are. So that's a weird take to have. But yeah, just posting that you're scared online is not doing anything. In fact, huge amounts of civil pushback and huge amounts of countries have been organized on the internet. Yeah. And this, like, it's going to work out or immediately not be my problem. Like, I really need y'all to sit with the fact that fear of death is a pillar of white supremacy. What the fuck are you scared of? They're already shooting people in the streets. All soldiers have to just like deal with this real fast because we have to prepare to die. And we hope we don't, but we have to prepare to die, and then we have to go out and do our jobs. And then when something happens and there's a huge explosion and half your team is dead, you have to figure out if you survived, and then you have to pick up your weapons and go back to the fight. And you people wonder why I'm not scared. People really like to forget that I've been to war twice. Bring me to life, ... I go to college, ... and play for the best chess team in the world, ... Yeah, it's like, and it's also because people don't understand cult leaders, right? And it's like, I'm not afraid. It doesn't mean they're not dangerous, but like my dad spent his whole life in a cult. He has 3 unalive children. He's very fucking dangerous. But he's also a random weird dude who believes he's possessed by a ghost of a person. Like, Donald Trump's a fucking toddler with an extremely low IQ. Every American president is life or death for people. Every single one. And also, tyrants want you to be afraid of them, right? When you are afraid, you are helping the tyrant. You know what tyrants are afraid of? That you will laugh at them. Serious thing that took Milosevic of Serbia out of power was comedy. I will probably be on Instagram this afternoon playing some guitar, doing musical stuff. What are you, sober mom? The AA playlist, yeah. No, fearing that you don't know what it will do to those you leave behind is part of fear of death. Yeah, that's all wrapped up in the white supremacy. People lose people all the time. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just educating you on the fact that every part of fear of death, and for white people, fear of breaking the rules, is a tenet of white supremacy. White people now think it's bad because they're now afraid that their children might die when they go out on the streets. And Black people have lived with that for 400 years. Black people are getting really pissed off seeing white people being like, now it's bad. About greenhouse gases, ... Yeah, I mean, logistics can answer so many questions. That's a huge part of how I predict what he is going to do or not going to do. Is he going to put 5,000 Marines to invade a foreign hostile nation with a seriously advanced military? No, that's bonkers. And no commander would go along with that because the United States military doesn't have suicide brigades. But also understanding that how your death is going to affect the people left behind is also immediately not your problem. You can do things like prepare your funeral ahead of time, especially if you have an only child. But that is part of getting out of your fear of death, is preparing so that people are fine when you die. Because we're all going to die. Everybody you love has a 100% chance of dying. Thank you. I like this green on you too. You can go study fear of death as a tenant of white supremacy. You can just Google that and read more about it, probably from Black creators and writers. And it's because it keeps you following the laws, even when the laws are slavery. White people don't want to break the rules because what? Because you're so afraid of what? Prison and death. Get over it. I spent 16 years growing up in a religious prison camp. Get the fuck over it. I do not feel sorry for your fear. And the new thing I'm going to start telling people is if you've ever seen children who you knew were being abused, whatever you did about that, that's who's coming to save you. I had a hole in me that I couldn't identify. ... Was it depression? Question mark. Was it dissociation? Question mark. Then I learned about God. ... A beautiful memoir by... Thank you. Oh, I don't think you would want me to teach a weapons class. I was not a very good soldier. I was a very good intelligence officer and I ran very fast. And that's how I pulled it off for 6.5 years. Because if you run very fast, they don't care how well you shoot. You might find yourself with 2 warrant officers on either side of you accidentally shooting your targets instead of you. Which, by the way, is not so much corruption as a sign that you took care of your soldiers, and so they took care of you. And also, everyone knows the intelligence officer doesn't have to be a very good shot. Until she gets voluntold to go be in the infantry sometimes. Even still, when I beat them all in a run, they all decided they would take care of me. By the way, I told the scissor tape monster that I live with that she has to buy scissors and tape with her own money, and those are the only ones she's allowed to use from now on. Yes, we always train with real ammo. I mean, sometimes we train with blanks in like live scenarios. We always do our shooting qualifications with real ammo, which is what I was talking about. You have to qualify with your rifle twice a year, just like you also have to qualify with being skinny enough twice a year and take your physical fitness test twice a year. Which is why it's funny that anyone thinks they can force people to be in the military. You could just be a bad shot or refuse to run, and then they would have to kick you out. I told him we do stocking at Christmas, and I told my child I was going to give her a stocking just full of tape and scissors, and she sobbed. I was like, but you love tape and scissors. Running matters that much? Because that's the thing the military chose to care about. So every time you hear them say, standards, we can't lower our standards, their standards are fucking arbitrary and stupid. And anybody talking about standards or professionalism is at least subconsciously furthering racism and sexism and misogyny and all those other lovely things. And jewelry boxes. That was going to be sad. Yeah, there's no way our current military runs on forcing people to be in it against their will. It just doesn't work. I did see that Erin Harms is bad. She very much loves her purple mouse. I don't think we need to decide whether sexism or racism deserves more attention. I think we can fight all of the isms at the same time. Why do Christians think Islam is a sin? I'm not a religious scholar, and I have no idea why you would try to ask me a question like that, but I can tell you that's not a real question. Why do Christians, you know all Christians? Almost all religious people think other religions are wrong. Everybody goes to hell in somebody else's religion. But asking the wrong people, the wrong thing people need to learn about. I have no idea why you think a 38-year-old cult scholar, a random person on the internet, could answer the question for you. The isms are all related. I mean, religions were about control, right? Cults are more about control. But the monotheistic patriarchal religions that popped up about 2,000 years ago were all about controlling society so that we could live in larger and larger groups together. And once you understand that, everything makes a lot more sense. Yep. Judaism is great because there's no hell in Judaism. Thank you. This morning I was like, I'm too tired to do anything. And I was like, I'm just going to put on a green sparkly dress and go do my morning things. Yeah, I mean, spending time reading is something that everyone could be doing right now, for sure. Understanding that being anti-education is part of how we got here is very important. Oh, and we're reading Caste in book club for the next 3 months. One of, I think, my favorite book of all time. I do go hard for holiday celebrations. My favorite is Halloween, but I also really like Christmas. This year I'm going to be Medusa for Halloween. I need to get started on that. Costume. Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. She compares the caste system of India, of Nazi Germany, and of America. American racism. Which, fun fact, Hitler thought American racism was too racist. He wanted an apartheid or Brazil version where you could earn your way white. That is, of course, because he was partially Jewish. And not even German. Fun fact. I mean, he was eventually German, but no, Tom can't be Perseus. Perseus murders Medusa. Tom's going to be a man of stone. Get it? Rock hard. I mean, he's a literal gray man, so he'll just have to put on his normal clothes and be like, I'm a rock. Damn it. I have to fix this more. I will not cite Hitler's partially Jewish, and I don't give citations on demand. You are welcome to go research that claim if you would like to find out more about it. Have a day. Just out here thinking you can demand work for free from people. Yes, you can join my book club by going to Patreon, which is linked in my bio, or you can go to Patreon/Group Behavior Gal, because I still can't figure out how to change that name. And it is a $10 membership, and we meet twice a month. Oh, I agree. The self-help industry is culty as fuck. Anywhere in the space of personal transformation, predators are going to show up. How can you be safe? You can't. That's why I wrote a cult tactics book. Just like anywhere children are cared for, abusers will show up. Yes, I'm familiar with Going Clear. I am a cult scholar. Just assume I'm familiar with all of the most famous cult things. Thank you. Yeah, that's on reversing the trad wife trend. First, you have to educate yourself on the 100 years of evangelical organizing that brought us here. And then you have to start working on 50 to 100 years of organizing to go back in the other direction. I believe you that your dad didn't believe you, that people are trying to bring on the apocalypse. I don't know what you want me to tell you about that. But Jesus and John Wayne is a very good start for all of this. Scientology, and also Scientology has impacted regular American culture and government in huge ways that I don't think people really understand. I'm not going to tell you the name of my sister that I went to live with in Houston. That's why she has a pseudonym. I also can't watch. Not only can I not watch Tom Cruise, I can't watch Kevin Bacon and Mark Wahlberg because they look too much like Tom Cruise to me. Yeah, I think Scientology has had the biggest effect on American culture, bar none. I mean, maybe Mormons, but I still think more Scientology. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to put 3 more in the shop. May the odds be ever in your favor. Is this one? Oops, I'm showing it off backwards. Is this one, which was once a fabulous $200 Stella and Dot necklace that became not that fabulous because it's crap jewelry. And so I made it fabulous again. And I'm calling it the MLM necklace. Oh, it's falling apart. I also don't know. Yes, I did say I'm not going to tell you my sister's real name. Yay, wearing the collar to the King's protest. I love it. Part of what you can do to fight back, y'all, is unbeigify yourselves during times of fascism. Hitler and Hugh Hefner both hated red lipstick. Hitler also was huge into the trad wife trend. No makeup, no hair dye. Appearance control. It's always about behavior control. Guess who wrote about that in their new book? Yep, it was me. No, I think pretty much all organizations that rely on volunteer labor are coercing and exploiting people in today's America. Yeah, stop asking me questions about my sister. I'm not going to tell you. I decided to tell my life story and make my business the internet, not my siblings. All 23 of them that are still alive deserve to have their own lives. 22 of them that are still alive. Senor. Nope. Nope. That dog's allowed to exist. Yeah, he is. He is. Even if you're grumpy about it, even if he's on welfare. I don't know if you know this, but you don't exactly work for a living either. The dog's a Republican. None of my siblings are still in the cult because the cult basically fell apart in 2009. But also my grandfather still runs the money. No, it didn't. There was a high school counselor who helped me out. I went to live with my sister. The high school counselor who helped me out is named Sharon Raybon. And obviously, she gave me permission to use her real name. It's actually very interesting when you write a book who gives you permission to use their real name and who gives you permission to use their real name before you read it. It's also really weird how many people think that you're going to use the opportunity to tell the story of your life to simply trash other people. Like, that's not even good writing. It's just silly Kabbalah business. There are always people that think the leopards aren't going to eat their face. What was the all of these ICE members who are in the airports with their masks off are now getting doxxed on Bumble or Tinder or whatever. I'm like, oh, I love watching insurgents blow themselves up. It's great. I absolutely think the Kabbalah Center is a cult. Yes. A cult that has done a lot of harm and damage in the world. I have, is it 14 sisters? I think it's 14 sisters and 11 brothers. Sex cult math. honestly a little worried about selling this one because you have to like line it up every time. I'm also a little worried about selling this one because it has to come with instructions. But look how pretty. I took a ridiculously gaudy necklace and I made it gaudy, but not in an ironic way. How many? 25 siblings. Sex cult math. All right. Are you ready for it? This will be my last thing before I go. So, my mom at 14 was impregnated by a 43-year-old man, and he had 6 children, all of whom still blame my mother and me for ruining their family. Then my mom was married off at 16 to an 18-year-old boy, and they had 1 child together. And then he had 2 more children. And I would not consider those my siblings because he was my stepfather for 2 years. But during those 2 years, he became illegally my legal father and is still on my passport. So these are my legal brothers. Okay, so that is 9. Right? 6 plus 1 plus 2, 9. Then my mom at 20 was married off to someone who was 20 years older than her and had 8 children with his first wife. So that's 17. 2 children in between, 19. And then he and my mother had 6 more children together, 25. Plus me. 0 full siblings, 25 step and half siblings. I think Shelly Miscavige is hiding in a Scientology mountaintop cool resort, exactly where her niece, Jenna Miscavige, says that she is. Deeply, deeply part of being the skinny white woman of Scientology. That is what I think. I'm sure it's very convenient for her that everybody believes that she's dead. I think they're hiding her because she doesn't want to go to jail for murder. I mean, her niece very much thinks she's still alive. And I tend to believe cult survivors. Thank you for reading my book. I stay hopeful in the face of instability because so far nothing is worse than what I've already survived. And also because logistics. I think what more Americans, especially white Americans, need right now is radical acceptance. Y'all are still in like the bargaining phase of thinking like we can stop this from happening. Like, this is your country. Welcome. We're probably going to be fighting fascism for the next 50 years. Didn't like it either. I was just supposed to be a rich retired author. And instead we have to fight fascism. But here we are. Radically accept what is happening in our world and then go do something about it. Of course, I think voting is important. It's an extremely strange question. Dictatorships are often voted out. And if that sounds like not real to you, you need to go educate yourself. $350 million people cannot be ruled by force. But if we don't start organizing the way the evangelicals have, everyone keeps waiting for somebody else to do it. Meanwhile, Phyllis Schlafly, one random person, defeated the Equal Rights Amendment. Oh, look at Brazil is what I've been begging people to do for, well, 62 weeks. So many lessons you can learn from Brazil. All right, if you're fairly certain that we're going to be nuked for what we've done to other countries, what are you going to do about it? I mean, I don't think you have any expertise to be fairly certain about that, so I believe you are wrong. But what are you going to do about it? If that's what you're afraid of, what are you doing? Because if I was afraid that we were going to be nuked, I would be organizing super fucking hard, like probably every minute of my existence. But not every minute, because you can't devote yourself 100% to anything, including fighting fascism. Yeah, it's weird to think that other countries want to kind of destroy the globe just because our country is evil and our president is evil. It's not usually how things work. And as I've said before, most people do not want to pick a giant fight with the United States. But yeah, that's called the worst course of action. Okay, this is my job in the military, to tell you the most likely course of action and the most dangerous course of action. And the worst course of action is basically some version of zombie apocalypse. They're all going to nuke us. It's very unreasonable. And the whole point of it is to think, what would you do? And then go back to reality and keep fighting. Okay. Well, if you're very involved with resistance, I would really recommend you educate yourself more on the nuclear world. I don't even think we're at odds with any countries that have nukes right now. I mean, at odds is a weird thing because Donald Trump has pissed everybody off. But and also, what do you mean when you say we are going to get nuked? Nobody can nuke an entire country the size of America. Where do you think is going to get nuked? Who do you think is going to nuke us? Every single time, you all, if you add a few questions about logistics to your big bad fear, it's going to help you. And they're going to nuke us to what end? I don't think any country has ever killed millions and millions of people in another country strictly out of revenge. It's not the way international relations in a modern world works. So, like, by all means, if that's the fuel that you need to keep you involved in resistance, okay. But it's not a realistic fear. Intelligence terms we would call a non-valid fear. Which is different than saying we might have nuclear war. We might have nuclear war. The idea that some other country is just going to randomly nuke America because of the things we've done in the past, that's not a valid fear. That's not how things work. And exactly this, like even Iran. Anyway, even Iran is out here like, we're not trying to kill American civilians. Like, we're not threatening terrorist attacks. We are trying to get these people to stop bombing our country. No, I've not heard of that show. Yeah, I mean, the thing I want everyone to remember is Nagasaki and Hiroshima were not wiped off the face of the map of the earth. Both of those cities still exist. You all have this idea, and it's from Hollywood, that the president presses one button. It's not at all how it happens. There's many people in between the president and launching a nuke. And then the world just ends. That is a cult mentality. That is an apocalypse mentality. That's not how it works. There is nothing that anybody can do to end the United States. It's just not a thing. Now, we have not had an existential threat in America really since the Civil War. We've not had an outside existential threat in America since the Revolutionary War. That's why we got really, really, really scared during the Cold War. But that's not the way it works. Oh, and America would very likely win nuclear war. So again, like the same way I told you all the last time he struck Iran and going into Venezuela, they weren't just going to randomly come start a war with America because nobody wants to be smashed to death by America. The one country that had a chance of beating America in a war is Iran. I don't deal with anyone who says anything about the Bible. I do not care. People who think Trump is in the Bible are not my audience. They're the people I'm talking about. I don't deal with them. I don't think about them. They're wrong and they're silly. I talk about a lot in my books. It depends what you're asking about. Why do they drill these fear-based fantasies into us so aggressively? To make you passive, to make you controllable. Tyrants and cult leaders want you to think that the apocalypse is on the horizon, because then you won't do anything. I don't think anyone right now thinks there's a threat of America being attacked by nukes. Anyone who's in the know of this. He is destroying the international accord that has kept us out of World War with nukes since World War II. But that doesn't mean our allies are suddenly just going to decide to nuke America. War is just bullies on a playground, y'all, on a bigger scale. And America is still the biggest bully. Nobody else can get their armies around the world. Part of why America is so strong is because nobody can get to us. Because we'll just kill you in the ocean. You know why Iran is so strong? Because they can just kill you in the ocean. Yeah. Our allies are still our allies. And even if they aren't like our friends right now, again, nobody wants to be crushed to death by America. My thoughts on Palantir. Palantir has been in your government for 20 years, and it's kind of cute to see Americans suddenly getting concerned about it. Y'all gave up privacy before I even came to this country, but certainly in exchange for smartphones and the internet. Like, that ship has sailed. Part of why Iran is strong is because they're in an ocean. And of course, because they control the Strait of Hormuz, which is known as the checkmateiest checkmate in the world when it comes to war. That's why we've been in hostile relations with Iran since the 80s, and nobody else has been this stupid. But like, it's like I keep telling you all, like, bad military commanders, a bad commander-in-chief means failed military operations, not the other way around. So like, soldiers have to care about their commanders to go to war. Soldiers have to have propaganda to go to war. Nobody's going to go die for Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. I just don't believe it. And I don't see how they would convince people to do it. All right, it's time for me to go. I'll show you the dress someone sent me. It's so epic. Got it slipping on the back. I'm going to this conference in Dallas, and we're having a speakeasy night and a casino night. And I actually think I'm going to wear an even more flapper dress for speakeasy night, and then I'm going to wear this for casino night. My interview was for Cults to Consciousness, but it wasn't live, it's not posted. So I will, of course, let you know when it gets posted. In addition to my big Hollywood interview that I might not need to let you know about. Yeah, risk analysis. That's the game. That was my whole job. Yeah, just wanting to go to war doesn't make you win. And one thing I've identified by studying bad guys and cult leaders and tyrants for so long is they all lose for the same reason. And the reason comes down to what? Not listening to the intelligence officer. Why? Because it's my job to make you care. and to make you think, what if you lose? And these guys never want to think, what if they lose? It's the same as dudes who are like, what about good cults? So that's how they always lose. They all study each other, but they don't pay attention to the part where every single one of them loses. I call it sampling the Kool-Aid, because they all think that they're going to be different. And they're not. So it is breaking up for him really badly. The cult doesn't have a mission. The war doesn't have a mission. So it is falling apart. Cynthia, take care of yourself. We will be thinking about you during your surgery. And everybody else, have a day. Yes, they literally cannot comprehend the possibility. Donald Trump truly, truly believes he's the best leader of all time. And that's what's going to take him down. Patterns are fun. Bye, buddy.